Rules play a very important part of society, any organization, institutions, even families, and right down to the personal level. Rules help us to be able to have order. They push back against chaos. Yet there are times when rules themselves need to be challenged. There are times when rules need to be suspended. There are times when rules should be broken. And that's what we're talking about today, when to break the rules. Here you are on CITAM Church Online. My name is George Murichu, and I want to challenge us from the book of Exodus, which tells us about these heroic women. It's set in this time where the nation of Israel is growing. The Hebrews are basically in a place of productivity, fruitfulness, and the Egyptian empire through Pharaoh introduces this very destructive policy. It is a policy that is anti-life. It is a policy that every boy child should be killed. And so we're told about two midwives who break the rules. They go against the policy of Egypt. They go against Pharaoh's decree. And this is what is recorded in Exodus chapter 1, that the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when you're helping the Hebrew women during childbirth, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. So that's the decree by Pharaoh. But if it is a girl, let her live. Very selective, very discriminatory, but you can see that it's aimed at disadvantaging the people of Israel. And so we're told in verse 17 of Exodus 1 that the midwives, they feared God and they did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. They were on the side of the Lord. They were on the side of life. They were on the side of liberty. And so as you think about your life and those times of ethical dilemma, times where you're not too sure what to do, there's something, maybe it is not even a rule, maybe it's a culture that is in place, but when you look at that culture, when you interrogate certain practice that's happening in your organization, you realize this is not healthy, and this does not honor God, and this does not foster the flourishing of my fellow human beings. What should you do in the ethical dilemmas of life? What should you do when you're confronted with situations like the Hebrew midwives were confronted with? Well, I want to suggest to you, strongly so, that you and I should be on the side of life, liberty. More than anything, we should be on the Lord's side. This story reminds me of Peter and John in the book of Acts, where they are in a similar situation. There's that which has been decreed, there's that which the authorities are saying, but Peter and John, they are outrightly saying, shall we be on your side? Should we fear you as human beings, or should we fear God? So this is a call to fear God, to hold him in higher regard than any human being, because it is when we fear the Lord that wisdom begins. And we see the results of the Hebrew women breaking the rules. The Bible tells us that they were able to save many babies, and so God was kind to them. That's in verse 20. And the people increased, and they became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. We see that because they honored the Lord, they were on the Lord's side, they were on the side of life, they were on the side of liberty, that on account of that, what ends up happening is that the midwives are blessed by God. They prosper, they are productive, they are fruitful. They themselves experience life. They themselves experience this blessing of the Lord because they broke the rules of Pharaoh. They pushed back against Pharaoh's rules. If we were to go on to chapter 2, we would see that Pharaoh's own daughter breaks her father's rules. She breaks that policy of murdering the Hebrew boy child. And that is a great example that right there in the heart of the empire, there was someone who was standing up against the excesses of the empire. Are you in a place where you need to stand up, you need to speak up, you need to push back against the darkness? There's a reason you're the light in that darkness. And there's a reason God has planted you there so that you can bring about the advance of His kingdom. The Lord, life, and liberty. God bless you, and thanks for watching.